Hey everyone, my name is Leon Situ. I run a liquor store in Duluth, Minnesota. It's called Shanty Bottle Shop. Um, 3 years ago, I bought this liquor store. Previously, since I would say since 2011, I've been a software engineer. So I currently have two jobs. By day, I'm a software engineer. Actually, let's say not say by day. I'm a software engineer every day, and I'm a liquor store owner every freaking day as well. Um, so over the past decade, I've learned a lot about data analytics, writing custom applications to solve real world business problems using full stack technology provided by Microsoft. Some of the solution here, some of the things I'm gonna show here are available to everyone to use as long as you know what you're doing, and it'll probably cost you a few dollars each month to run at most. Um, so just to show you, Square is a point of sale system, a solution, along with other things like payroll, advertising, and e-commerce, so you can have a Square website as well for your retail business that leverages this. So for me, I use Square Point of Sale for credit card processing, their payroll service, and then their e-commerce solution, which is hosting um, your their website to sell whatever you sell in your brick and mortar store. Anyways, obviously, Square provides an out-of-box solution that attempts to solve it for everyone. Well, that should work for everybody, but to make my life easier as a liquor store owner, I found that you know keeping track of your inventory is the hardest thing in the world. Uh, well, not just keeping track of it, like placing an order with your vendor, making sure that you order in the right time and not over ordering or under ordering, basically not overstocking or understocking items. And most of the time over the first during the first year of owning the store, I was playing it, just learning on the job, looking at a shelf rather if it's empty or not, looking at a product rather it's empty or not, then restocking it. I did not go into detail, go into looking at another sales numbers and, you know, did that item actually sell in a year, or did that item get sold out in say like 2 weeks, right? So now with all of this information, the data that I get from Square, collected over the last 3.5 years, I can answer those questions. So, for example, if I want to know how many 99 blue rafts I sold in the last 30 days, it's, this information is one click away, rather than like uh, in the Square point of sale, in the Square dashboard, you would have to go to reports, export everything for, let's say you want to answer for the last 30 days. You would export all the sales data for the last 30 days, export it, using some Excel magic, and summarize what uh, find everything that's 99 blue RAS, summarize it in a pivot chart of some kind. So for me, this is that 178 in the last 30 days. And if I want to know more, I click on the sales history, and voila, here's the pivot chart. The 99 blue RAS is somewhere in here for everything 99. Blue, yeah, right here. So currently it shows that I have zero in stock. That's because in the middle of the pandemic, and a lot of items are out of stock. And but over the last 7 months, so 853 units of this, and this is pretty cool because it gives me a breakdown of more than 199s. Um, this screen is useful because sometimes 99 as a product by itself has deals, like you can mix and match more than one cases of 99s to get a better price. So now I can see like, okay, for this item, I need to, since this is 0, I obviously need to order more of this if it comes back in stock, and on and on and on. So leverage this screen a lot to see a pivoted view of sales by product line. I think White Claw 12 pack is another one. I just showed this example here. Um, here you go. It's a pretty popular one. And then let's say Fireball. The general sales of Fireball. And Hennessy is another one. On and on and on. So that's that screen. So how did I get here, right? Let me open up a notepad with some things that I put in there, some notes. So initially, when I bought this store about 3.5 years ago, there was some information that I was trying to do. Obviously, I never owned a store before, never had to enter own a business before, never had to enter things into QuickBook. I found that process really, really painful. With how the accountants show me like what numbers I need to actually plug in to keep my books straight. So, um, being a software I am, decided to automate that shit, right? So now it's just literally click here, copy into into clipboard, paste it, copy into clipboard, paste it, copy into clipboard, paste it in the QuickBook. And these are the exact account numbers I need to plug in the QuickBook side. So that was my very, very, very initial goal, was to summarize the QuickBook data. Um, well, actually, sales information into QuickBook. The next question I wanted to answer was, after owning it for a while, was like, how do I know the historical actually sales history on a per item basis without doing that painful work of exporting, say, a year worth of data from Square every time that I want to do this, and then play with some Excel magic. That's when I decided to integrate with the Square webhook. So this is available free for anyone who has a Square account. Um, webhook. Uh, there's a Square developer portal. You can go into your production one. They provide like a sandbox environment for you to test things out, and then you go into your live account. So the couple events I subscribe to is catalog update version, which means anytime that you add something into your catalog, or like create a new item, remove an item, and such. Inventory count update, which is anytime that a sales happen. Obviously, when a sale happen, it takes one from your inventory count, or if there's a refund, it adds back, one or two back, whatever the quantity was. And then anytime there was a payment created, meaning that anytime something was sold on your point of sale and it was approved, if it's credit card or if it's cash was collected, and such. So any of these events would trigger a webhook, which is a fancy word for saying like anytime that these events happen, call out into one of the function, this Azure function that I've created, which is my own API, hosted on Azure. In the last 30 days, these are the metrics, right? It processed about 22,000 messages. These API calls uh, happen, from the Square webhook into my Azure function. Um, here's ADO view of the code that I wrote. It's an Azure function, and it's literally, I mean, it can be just a few lines of code. Um, what it does is that it tries to validate if the message truly came from Square, and then the very next thing is if it actually is from Square, then I send it to a service bus. So this is obviously not a coding course or a coding video, so I'm just going to stop here. Um, stop it, stop that. So move up back onto uh, the actual the workflow here, or what I built here on the side. So once I have that in the Azure Service Bus, I have a console application which writes everything into a SQL database. So this is to provide real-time integration between what happens in Square POS to your iPad to my custom uh, MVC application, which can be viewed on my mobile phone or any device that is actually connected to the internet. Um, so I'm just going to show you some other features. So for example, here, I know 99s comes from a vendor called Southern. So I can, if on a weekly basis, I can search for Southern to see how many things I need to actually order from Southern. Then on this, in, I have a couple columns here to give me hints. So this is a point of sale. This column lists the current um, inventories I have in stock for these for each row item here. So 0000. So basically, I would have to order everything with zeros here, but that's not enough, right? Um, I From this vendor, we get a delivery once a week. So I have this other column here that calls DTOS. It stands for days to out of stock. That's my own little acronym here, so forgive me for whatever that means. But what I want is anything on the data I order, anything that's out of stock under 7 days, I should probably consider ordering. So that means that anything under 8, I would order and maybe even include 8. This calculation, this number here is calculated based on the last, uh, there's 3 moving averages that I have. There's a 7-day moving average, and then there's a 14-day moving average, and then there's the 30-day moving average. Whichever day is higher, I'm using the highest moving average number one to figure out, just to be pessimist, to play on the safe side, I use the highest number to estimate the days that I'm going to be out of stock. So that's that. Um, yeah, I'll just show you a few other screens here. I mean, I do have this price thing here. This screen here keeps track of the last time I ordered those items, and it has, units, uh, cost per unit, and then units per case. It gives me the 30% markup and the 40% markup. What this gives me is the ability, once I have all that information, there's an ability to have an MSRP check, meaning that, hey, your point of sale is this much, but the unit cost is $15. Your MSRP is probably should be $19.45 and 50 cents to meet your to make sure you're making money instead of selling it for a loss. But however, this one is definitely on purpose to be sold at $9.99 because I simply have too much of those. So I'm putting that shit on discount. Um, anyways, yeah, let's stop here. I want to see how people are on YouTube responds to this video before I make another one. Thanks.